Hello everyone. Please tell me which city are you logging in from today? Pune, Paris, Guntur, Colorado, London, Chandigarh, Boston, Bangalore, Dhaka, Kathmandu, Doha, Dhaka, Hyderabad, Peru, wow, Tokyo. Hmm, wonderful. 2 more minutes and we are going to start. Okay, nice. So how many of you have attended the session yesterday? Tell me one or two in the chat if this is your first session or second session. Hmm. You'll get the notes mostly by tomorrow, guys. The videos are already on YouTube. Plus, you'll get a better quality Zoom recording. You'll get a better quality Zoom recording and all the resources probably by tomorrow. Once you fill the feedback form at the end of today's session. Cool. Yes, I think we are ready to start. Fill the feedback form today, guys. We'll send you the notes. Just fill the feedback form today. We'll send you the comparison notes. Notes as in the scribbling that I'm doing on the paper. Yes, doing on the iPad. Wonderful. So, are you guys ready? Tell me ready in the chat if you are ready to go ahead with today's session. Everyone, yes. Cool. Now I want all of your attention in the session right now because today we are going to discuss some important stuff, right? Today we are going to discuss some important stuff. That's why I want your attendance today in the session. Okay, let me go ahead and stop the chat for now. Otherwise, you guys will bother each other. Yes, cool. So everyone, today as well, you just have to remain till the end of the session. In the end, I'm going to share a feedback form. If you fill that feedback form, we'll be sending you high quality recordings, notes, resources, and the slides as well. Okay, so don't worry about it. Just remain till the end of the session. Listen very peacefully and then try to grab the moment right now. Don't think that I'm going to go ahead and go through the recording later on. You will get the recording, but the most value you'll get from the session if you are listening to it live with full attention. Okay, so with that being said, let me just go ahead and start this. Yes, so this two-day masterclass is about AI product management. This is supposed to give you the clarity that this is how you should approach your career, and these are the things that are important for you to know or start a career in product management. Okay, and I have told you the agenda yesterday already, that yesterday we have talked about the GenAI fundamentals. I talk to you about GenAI value stack. Then I talk about how LLMs work. Then we also talk about the nature of LLMs. And then we talk about the AIPM role. And we have already started on context engineering, where we already talked about RAG, right? And then today we are going to talk a bit about prompt engineering, fine tuning, how all of these products work, and a bit about AI agents, right? So this is the agenda for today. Now, with that being said, just a quick revision. Yesterday, I have told you that we are between a Gen AI revolution. These companies, these companies did not existed few years ago, and now they are like multi-billion-dollar companies out there which were creating so much value, right? Similarly, the companies like the top companies of today are also mostly AI companies, that they have almost doubled or tripled or quadrupled their value in the last few years, like after 2022, right? And rather than going up with valuation, I have also told you that this Gen AI is one piece of technology which has been able to quickly find its way into our daily use cases. So I've asked you that when is the last time when you have used ChatGPT, Gemini, or any kind of Gen AI, and most of your answers were maybe last minute or last hour, right? So this is what I try to tell you, and then we talk about what is the base of all of this. Then we understood about the large language model. So what is a large language model? Large language model is a neural network trained on massive amounts of text to learn patterns in language, enabling it to understand, generate, and reason with natural language by predicting the next most likely word or token in the context. To simply explain it to you, you give a sentence to the large language model. It is going to try to iteratively add words to it so that it is able to give its meaning. Understand, large language models do not understand the meaning. What they are doing is they have seen a lot of data in the past. We have feeded them a lot of books, a lot of content from the internet, a lot of professional content, a lot of curated content, a lot of training content, and because of which now they are able to identify the patterns. Okay, so these are just pattern detection and statistical machines which are able to think that they are thinking, but at a core they are not thinking, but they are equally useful, right? And yesterday I also told you that how LLMs work. So in LLM, what happens is, so before talking about how LLMs work, okay, like what are the three stages? The basic criteria is this. Okay, so for example, I have told you a simple equation of y equal to mx plus c, right? It's a very simple equation. So I wanted to tell you that if you have two values of input and output, then you can find the value of two parameters, right? Large language model is nothing but it is a similar formula, but with lot and lot of variables, maybe a billion parameters, right? So in order to get an equation with two parameters, you need to have two values of input and output. So in order to have the full value of an equation which has billions of parameters, you need multi-billions of input and output data, right? In case of a larger language model, what is the input and output data? In case of a large language model, this is the input and this is the output. This is the input and this is the output. This is the input and this is the output, right? So because we have so much text data already available in the form of internet, in the form of books, in the form of professional writers, we can go ahead and give so much data, and that is why we are able to now create a system which can predict text with a lot of confidence, right? I have also told you about the transformer architecture and why GPUs are the best to go ahead and act on this particular architecture, right? And I've also told you about how NVIDIA is rising because of this phenomena, right? So this is like the basic fundamental about how LLMs work. And whenever we create a helpful LLM, large language model, we go ahead and make this LLM into three stages. The first stage is pre-training, where we collect all the data. We collect the data from the internet, we collect the data from the books and multiple other places, right? And we are going to clean the data so that it is somewhat meaningful and we are not putting garbage into the LLM, right, for training. After that, we are going to train. In training, we are going to do this. What we'll do is, we will have the data, we will divide every line of the data into input and output, right? So let's say this is a sentence, how LLMs work. How LLM, how LLM is actually an input and work is an output, right? So we are going to feed how LLM, tokenize it, feed it here. We are going to take work, tokenize it, feed it here. So we know the input, we know the output. After that, this formula is going to run. What happens in this running is we are trying to determine the value of parameters. Initially, because we have not trained, we are starting with 0. The parameters are going to be random. So with this random, we are going to predict some kind of token. The formula is going to give something, even if that is very random, right? So formula is going to give something. We are going to compare it with what should be the actual output. Then based on that difference, we are going to ask the system to update the parameters. And then we are going to run it a billion or maybe multi-billion times in order to give somewhat good value to the parameters, right? And then when we give these kind of values to the parameters, then we are able to understand that yes, we have created a large language model which is able to predict the next word with a lot of confidence, which is very accurate, right? But understand, these models are not deterministic, they are probabilistic. So the LLM will not say that after how LLMs work will happen. Work will not come, it will give you 4 or 5 options with multiple probabilities, right? So this is how LLMs work. You can consider parameters as small knobs. Okay, they can have a value from maybe 0 to 1, from 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, something like that. And when all of them are aligning, you'll be able to go ahead and get a right output from the LLM, right? And after that, once the training is done, once you have a basic next token predictor, then what you are going to do is you are going to do post training, right? So far we have trained LLM on some generic data. Now we want to give a personality to LLM. So what we are going to do is we are going to do something called as post training. It is also called as fine tuning, which we are going to discuss in just a moment. So in fine tuning, what will happen is we are going to give some professional grade data to the LLM, right? We are going to give it how to behave, how to act. So for example, if you ask, let's say, chat GPT for something, it is very nice because it has been given that personality with this post training data, right? And yesterday I have also shown you some examples of post training data. Let me show it to you again if you guys don't remember. Yes. So this is how it looks like. So we are going to give it an input, which is summarize the following passage. And then we are going to give it a target. This should be the desired output. We are going to feed this kind of information, maybe millions of such rows generated by real people. And we are going to give it to an LLM. And then the LLM is going to learn how to become an assistant and how to evolve from a next token predictor to actually a helpful assistant, right? So this is what we have done yesterday. This is a part of post training. And after that, we have talked about the Gen AI value stack. Many people think that if they don't know how to create models or understand models, like if they don't know how to create models and they don't know, let's say, how to understand this infrastructure, they might not be able to grab the AI opportunity. So understand, a lot of opportunities are here. I have divided the whole Gen AI value stack into 4 parts. The first part is the infra layer, where companies are giving you computation, data, platform, and GPUs. This is particularly ruled by big companies such as NVIDIA, AWS, and Google's Vertex AI. Similarly, we have the model layer, where we have large language models, small language model, training data. This is what we are discussing about in LLMs, right? These are owned by companies such as OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepSeek, Alibaba, and all, right? And then we have the application layer. This is where you are going to use these and you are going to make it useful, right? On the top of internet, we have created Shopify, we have created Facebook, we have created Google, right? On the top of electricity, we have created refrigerators, we have created televisions. On the top of NPCI or UPI, we have created Paytm, Sarodha, and multiple other products, right? On the top of WebRTC, we have created Zoom and Google Meet and everything, right? So consider this as a platform that is given to you. Now it is up to you as a product manager, product builder, entrepreneur in order to leverage these things in order to build something substantial. This is the application layer, right? And then right now you guys are already using it as a service layer where you are using all of these applications and everything in order to serve your clients. You are not building your own products, but you are using existing products in order to serve your clients. That is a service layer, right? But here effectively you are trading your time. Yes. Now I have also told you a basic categorization of PMs. All of you are AI enabled PMs because you are using AI in order to get your work done. But here in this session, we are going to talk about AI product PMs, which are divided into two parts. First is the core AI PM, coming from a strong data science or maybe machine learning background, who understand how machine learning, data science, and deep learning works. And they are going to build the infrastructure and model layer, right? And then there are people, which is most of us, who are going to create products on top of large language models, small language models, and these products are going to scale. So product managers who are working on products such as ChatGPT, Lovable, Grammarly, Notion AI, multiple examples I'm going to give you today, are the people who are the AI applied AI PMs. Right. After that, we have talked about the product called as Chat PRD. I have told you about that whenever you look at a product as a product manager, please look at 5 angles. Okay. The first angle is whether it is useful for the user or not. Right. Why should this product exist? If you don't have clarity around this, please don't create the product. Right. The second is business value. What do you like? If you invest into this, how would you get the returns? Right. So why your business should invest in creating this product? Right. The third part is design. The design should be so that people are able to use it intuitively. It should not come in the way. It should actually solve the problems. Right. And then we talk about feasibility. Now, a common mistake that people do is when it comes to AI, they focus too much onto only the feasibility. Right. They focus on building the product right rather than building the right product. Okay. Yes. So they focus on building the product right rather than building the right product. Can anyone tell me the difference between building the product right and building the right product? What is the difference between building the product right and building the right product? Go ahead, guys. Tell me in the chat. We have more than 500 people in the chat now. Go ahead, guys. Yes, which is outcomes versus output, right? Just because you can create something with AI these days does not mean you should create it, right? It has to solve a problem in the life of the user. Yes, very good. Yes. Yes. And then there is also growth and adoption. Okay, now in this age, day and age, what has happened is because with the tools such as Lovable, Claude Code, Codex, and Anti-Gravity, because everyone can go ahead and build anything, almost anything, the value is also in getting the growth and adoption. So you should also think about this particular part, right? So whenever you are building the product, my recommendation is please look at these 5 angles, right? There are 3 more angles that we talk about in the advanced program where there is an octopus framework of making a successful AI product, right? And then I have told you the structure of how this works, that you are going to give it a prompt. It will be added with a system prompt, which I have shown you today. And then there is going to be a large language model, which is going to take this prompt, and then it is going to generate the PRD and the user stories. And then the engineers are going to make sure that it is being, let's say it is integrated with Jira, Calendar, Slack, or any other products. Okay. This is how Chat PRD works. I have also given you the simple example of Granular, which takes your meetings from Zoom, Google Meet, or somewhere. Then it tries to get the transcription from the same with the help of these open APIs. And then it adds the transcript with a system prompt, which I have shown you yesterday, and create and send this to the large language models. And the large language model create a good summary, actionable task, and everything. And then it is sent to your team through Jira, Calendar, Slack, or other methods. Right? With this, what happens is that understand this is value. Why? Because when you attend a lot of meetings, you have to go ahead and create. When you attend a lot of meetings, you have to always take a notepad, and generally you miss a lot of things. Okay, when AI is doing for you, then you don't need to worry about, let's say, what is the notes that is being taken or whether you should go ahead and take the note or not. You can actually focus on the meeting, and you know that AI is going to go ahead and do a good job of taking the notes, right? So this is the second part. And then we talk about something called as RAG. Okay, which is, I told you that, let's say I want to build an application or some use case on the top of my own database, which is my Atlassian database or my Stripe database or my Notion database. How do I do? I cannot go ahead and put all the information that I have in my database on LLM because it is going to run out of context. And I've also shown you that there are multiple researchers that have shown that with increase in context, the accuracy of the LLM goes down, right? The quality of the results go down. Okay, so we introduce something called as context engineering, right? And in context engineering, the first thing that I have introduced you was RAG. What is context engineering? Context engineering is the delicate art and science of filling the context window with just the right information for the next step. Okay, so you give input to the large language model. Every large language model works on the input that you give them, right? Which is the context memory. What do you feed in that memory is super important to get the output, right? What do you feed? How do you feed it is called as context engineering, right? Now, there are multiple methods of context engineering. The first and the most popular is RAG. Okay, so this is what we have done so far. Now, today I am going to repeat the RAG part again, and then we are going to continue the whole session. Okay, everyone tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand everything so far. Amazing. So let me just go ahead. Cool. So now yesterday what we have done is we have actually done a brief about RAG, but I'll explain it to you again. So what is the problem that RAG solves? So why are we talking about RAG? We are talking about RAG because let's say we have a some kind of data. Okay, data that is either stored in our Notion or Google Docs, right? Or in a bunch of PDFs, or the wiki of our company, or in the knowledge base of our company, such as Confluence, Jira, or any other mechanisms, right? So your data could be anywhere. Now, you want to make sure that you are able to put an LLM on top of this. What do I mean by LLM? I mean is that you should be able to ask a question in natural language and this should answer you. For example, if you ask the question to your Notion that keep me, or maybe better is give me an update on project X, right? So you are asking Notion to give you an update on project X. So whatever people are working in Notion, knowledge base, anything, everything is going to get connected. And then you are going to get an answer in natural language along with the links to the relevant documents, right? This is what we want to do, right? And this use case is very much important for any company because companies have a lot of context and searching information, finding information is very difficult, right? Similarly, if you look at a customer support use case, right? Let's say if you are creating a customer support chatbot, there you have whole repository of your question and answers. Now you want the customer to go ahead and put a prompt in the natural language. Your system should be able to answer based on the past conversations, right? So RAG is a very universal use case or a very popular use case of putting AI on top of your own database, right? Yes. Everyone, a quick yes or no if you're able to understand the problem statement, what we are trying to do. Cool. So what is the RAG is doing is you have a large database. Now you want to make sure that LLM is able to query on top of that without running out of context, because you cannot feed all of this data in the context, because it is going to run out of context. It is not going to give you right answer. It is going to hallucinate, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to find a solution, and that solution is RAG, right? So in RAG, what happens is, look at this very carefully, everyone. Now this is important. So in RAG, what happens is we go ahead and first we collect all the data. For example, all of the data that is connected on your Notion or anything, you are going to, or Notion itself is going to collect that data. It is going to extract text out of this data. For example, if there is a PDF, you are going to convert it into text, right? Then we are going to break that text into chunks. For example, if you have a large paragraph, you are going to break it down into line by line, right? So you are going to get line by line content from that chunks, like in the form of chunks, right? Line or paragraph or function, there are different kind of chunking strategies. Okay, in the bigger program, we cover all of these things in detail. The third part is vector embeddings. In vector embeddings, what happens? Now, we have this textual information. If we try to search in this textual information, we will only be able to do keyword-based search. Okay, we'll only be able to do keyword-based search. Okay, which means if we are talking about cats, and if here somebody has mentioned cat as a kitten, then it would not be searched, right? But we do not want keyword-based search. What we want is something called as a semantic search. Semantic search means that the words should be, like the similar words should also be captured in the search, right? So if I'm searching for a cat, kitten, feline, these things should also be captured, right? So for that, what we do is, for that we have something called as vectors. So what are vectors? In vectors, what we do is, vector embeddings are created at a word, paragraph, or at a line level, where we are able to give a number or a set of number to a word or a paragraph or a line, which represents the semantic meaning of that particular word. It captures I would say, the features of that particular word. For example, let's say I have cat, and I have, let's say this is the space. Okay, so I'm representing a 3D space, but in reality, it has more than 1300, 1500 parameters. Okay, so because I cannot represent a 1300D space here, I'm just representing a 3D space, right? So let's say cat is represented here, right? If I try to map dog might be somewhere here. But if I try to map table is somewhere here, which means cat and dog are more near to each other, and table is very much far from each other, right? Table is very much far from dog and cat, right? Because they are clearly animals and this is a non-living thing, right? How this happens? So companies like OpenAI, companies like Google, what they have done is they have taken a lot of data from the internet, and they have extracted the features from all of these words from lot of images and lot of content on the internet. Okay, and that is how they are able to create the embeddings. Okay, and now they give us an API. So if you want to create any embedding or any vector of any of the words, then you just call the OpenAI embedding API, and then it will be done for you. Okay, you don't have to think about this. You just have to put the word, and then it will be able to create a long array of this vector, right? Now let me talk to you about, so this is what a vector looks like. This is what a vector looks like. So vector is a array of numbers. Okay, so let's say this is 1, this is 0.1, this is 0. Yeah, So this is 0.01, this is 0.03, this is 0.04, this is 1, this is 0.2, something like that, maybe 1300 to 1500 variables, spaces, right? 1300 places, right? This is a vector, and they are able to contain the semantic meaning. How the semantic meaning comes? It comes from observing a lot of data set, right? To give you one simple example, let's say we have cat, we have dog, and we have table. Okay, some example features are, in cat, dog, and table, we have few features. One feature is it a living being or a non-living being? Right? Is it a, yeah, does it belong to the loin family? And the last part is, does it have a fur or not? Right? So cat is a living being, belongs to the loin family, has a fur. Dog is a living being, does not belong to the loin family, has the fur. Table is not a living being, does not belong to loin family, and does not have a fur. Right? I have given you very obvious parameters, but these large neural networks, they are able to understand an image, they are able to understand the word and how the word has been used across billions of sentences in order to drive all of these things. And then they are able to create these vectors. So vector here in this case would be 1, 1, 1, here 1, 0, 1, here 0, 0, 0. Okay, so cat and dog are similar to each other, and dog and table are not so similar to each other. Right? Everyone, a quick yes or no if you're able to understand vectors, because vectors is important. Everything in large language models and embeddings is related to vectors. That is why I have repeated this. Right? It's important to know how they works, right? Yes, cool. Yes. So now what happens is, yes. So now what happens is, we have gone ahead, converted these lines into meaningful vectors with the help of any API. So you have Gemini API, you have OpenAI API. Okay, it's a very cheap API which can help you do this. Okay, now you have the vectors. Now you are going to store the vectors somewhere. So there is a particular kind of storage that is used to store vectors, right? So you are going to store these vectors, right? After that, what you will do is, now once you have stored these vectors, your knowledge base is ready. Your LLM is now going to search from here, right? So now your knowledge base is ready here, right? So now what you will do is, now the user will send a prompt. How has Tesla performed in the last quarter? And then this prompt would be first converted into an embedding. Embedding as in, you are going to take this prompt, you are going to again call the OpenAI embedding or Gemini API in order to convert it into a vector. And then what you will do is, you will search this vector, you will search what are the things which are most related to this vector. So for example, if this mentions a kitten, and if your database contains something such as cat, feline, tiger, or kitten, it is going to get matched. Okay, but you will not get all the parameters. What you will do is, you will not get all the search items. You will pick maybe top 4, top 5, top 10, top 20 most similar items. Okay, so now you have collected the items which are similar. Then you are going to pick what was the real text behind the same. So you have the embedding for this item. Then you are going to pick what was the text initially for which this is the embedding, right? After this, once this is done, you are going to collect the top and matched chunks, and then you are going to create this new prompt, which is the augmentation part. So the part that is at the top is called the retrieval part, where you are searching the right information. In the augment part, what you will do is, you will write a new prompt. The prompt is, answer the question using the context below. The context is, you are going to put all the chunks that were matched, and then you are going to put the question, which is the user query in plain English or any language, right? And then this query, this augmented thing is going to go to a large language model such as Claude, Gemini, or Llama, or any other language model. And now you understand this is just plain English. right? And then you are going to go ahead and get the result, right? So this is how RAG works. You Step number one, you create a knowledge base. Step number two, you first of all, in the knowledge base, you are going to take all of your data, you are going to chunk it, you are going to add meta information such as document ID and everything, and then you are going to embed it. You are going to create it into vectors, and then you are going to store it somewhere. Now, when a user prompt comes, you are going to convert it into a vector. You are going to match in your database what are the items which are similar to this. What can help me answer this query? And then you are going to take those items, top n items, and then you are going to create a new prompt. And then you are going to send it to a large language model. And then you are going to get the answer, right? This is how you can go ahead and add any amount of information on the top of LLMs, right? Everyone, tell me yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand how RAG works. Yes. So this is RAG, right? Now, right. So what we are doing is we have created the knowledge base. To repeat the last part, user is giving you a prompt. That prompt is in the form of plain English or any particular language which humans know. So you are going to convert this into an embedding. How do you convert into an embedding? By using some API from OpenAI or Gemini or something else, right? So now you have the vector. Now what you will do is you will search which of the vector in your database is actually similar to this, which means the information that I'm trying to find about project X, where is this information in this? So whatever are the chunks which are relevant to it, they are going to get fetched. Okay, so now you have only the important data, not all the data, but only the important data. Okay, then you are going to get the data, create a new prompt. The new prompt is that answer this question based on only the fetched data, not the all the data. Okay, and then you are going to send it to an LLM, and then you are going to get an answer, right? Understand, guys? This is the 101 of RAG. This is the 101 of RAG, right? Now it can get more complicated, as in, let's say it might be possible that if your RAG is failing, it is not giving right answer, then there are multiple failure points. Could be your data is not properly chunked, your data is not properly understood, your embeddings are not proper, they are losing the meaning. Maybe your search is not very efficient, right? Maybe this embedding is not good, maybe your prompt is not good. So what happens is, this is why it is called as context engineering, right? You go ahead, do these things, iterate, and then you understand what are the roadblocks, what are the things that could be missing there. Okay, so this is how RAG works. Everyone, on a scale of 1 to 5, if you are able to understand this. Yes. So we talked about RAG and vectors, which is actually a very, like, a super important thing for you to know if you want to operate in this AI world, no matter you want to become a PM or not. It is super important for everyone, right? So this is RAG. And now what happens is, yeah. And now after RAG, yes. Now after RAG, so RAG is a bit next level. Before RAG, you should also know something called as prompt engineering. Okay. You should also know something called as prompt engineering. Prompt engineering basically means, how do you give instructions to the large language model? Okay. Understand. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 5, honestly tell me, everyone, how many of you think your manager knows how to give you instructions? On a scale of 1 to 5, tell me, how many of you, like, how would you rate your manager's ability to talk to you or communicate with you? Yes. Right. Correct. So this is what happens. Okay, so understand, guys, like you can see it in front of you, right? That almost everyone is frustrated with their managers because they cannot communicate with them. They say something else, they mean something else, they want something else, they report something else, and they go ahead and tell something else to their own boss about you, right? So understand, most of the problems that human beings have created, it is because of miscommunication, right? Now that we have such a powerful piece of technology in our hands, we are again doing that mistake, which is people are not even focusing on creating this super powerful high leverage skill of prompt engineering, right? So imagine you have one individual whom you have hired for $20 a month. They have understanding of a multi, I would say, a multi-dimensional PhD candidate. Like they have done PhD in almost all of the subject. They can talk in any language. They are very nice to you, and still you are not able to utilize them. Why? Because you don't know how to talk to them. You are not spending time in learning to how to communicate with this person, right? Or this particular machine. So my recommendation to everyone is, please go ahead, take about one day, which is 6 hours, which is like you can only be productive for 6 to 8 hours in a day maximum. So take 4 to 6 hours and try to understand how prompt engineering is done. Okay, I'll give you some clues right now. Okay, so right now, guys, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, where would you rate yourself on your prompt engineering skills? Be honest as you were right now in the previous question. Yes, cool. So understand, guys, it is a high leverage skill. Okay, it is a high leverage skill. If you people have invested 4 or 5 years in order to go to a college and try to learn something which has not been helpful for you, understand you can learn something at maybe 1,000 part of that time, and that is going to be effective for you for the rest of your life. Okay, so please learn this. Okay, so right now I'm going to share with you few tips. Okay, so first tip is, please take a step back, which is understand the value of prompting. Okay, understand, you don't have to make every prompt detailed, but you have to understand what is the leverage of this task. For example, if you are writing, let's say, uh, and a small email or a WhatsApp message to your friend, and you want to be more professional and you want to remove the spelling mistakes, then you can just tell to GPT that go ahead and improve this draft, right? That is okay. But if you are writing a LinkedIn post or if you are writing a product requirement document, then you understand that there is high leverage. So you have to take a step back. You have to understand the situation and understand which situation is high leverage and it actually deserves a detailed prompt, right? And understand the context. The second part is try to give it a right role. Right role means that LLMs generally tend to behave better when you are giving them right kind of, let's say, environment. So rather than saying that create a PRD for me, maybe start with, you are a senior product manager who has worked with top companies such as Google, Meta, OpenAI of the world, and this is the task, right? It is proven to perform better than just giving it a random prompt. Okay, so try to give it a role. Whatever thing that you are doing, try to give it a role. The third part is output expectations. If you want a table, if you want a code, anything that you want, don't rely on LLM to decide it for you. Okay, you decide the output expectation. For example, if you want to create a blog, tell it that it has to be 2,000 words. If you write to create a LinkedIn post, tell it that it has to be 500 words, right? The third is multi-step. Multi-step means, generally, rather than getting only one piece answer, if you let the LLM to think as in, if you ask them to go ahead and think in a step, they generally give you better answers, right? For example, rather than asking an LLM that how do I create a PRD, you should go ahead and ask an LLM that give me step by step method in order to, like, so that I'm able to understand how to create a PRD, right? So they'll give you the right kind of steps. So when they think over it, when you give them a multi-step prompt, they are able to do a better job, right? And then this is give examples. Give examples means, this is also called as few shot prompting. few short prompting. Few short prompting means you are going to give some examples, right? For example, if you are writing a PRD, give examples of PRD. If you are writing user stories, give examples of user stories. If you are trying to understand North Star metric, give examples of North Star metric. Okay, so understand every LLM has two kinds of memories, right? Every LLM has two kinds of memories. One memory is the hard memory, which is coming from their training data. So they have trained on a lot of documents, so they have a lot of information, right? And the second memory that they have is the current memory or the context memory, which is coming from your instructions. Okay, you should not rely on this hard memory. If you can give some more data, which is important, through some examples in your context, please give it. Okay, this is called as context few short prompting, right? And then what we also have is, we have, yes, you can also give it constraints, which is think between these lines. So what happens is, when you give an input to like a prompt to an LLM, it generally is going to, maybe first time it might not give you the right results. So you should observe the result, understand what are the constraints that you can put in the next part. For example, you tried to create a blog through LLM. And then what you did was, you actually have gone ahead and created, like it has gone ahead and created a very lengthy blog. But you are asking, you wanted a blog which was 1,000 words. So make sure that next time you are able to give it constraints, right? And the last part is iterations. Last part is iterations. What are iterations? Iterations means, understand, there is a reason for which this thing is called engineering. Engineering means iterating, learning from the feedback. Okay, so all of these things you have to keep on iterating. Don't think that your first prompt is going to be great. Learn, make this a learning journey. Understand what is the output, how you can go ahead and improve it. Because once you develop that mental muscle of doing the right engineering, prompt engineering, this skill is going to help you for a very long period of time. Right? So this is a 101 on prompt engineering. Okay. I have also gone ahead and created like a guide very recently, I think today only. Let me give you the link. Just give me a moment. So I've created this guide today just before this session. And this is created by Claude Code. Okay. This is on local, so you cannot see it yet, but I'll share it to you maybe by tomorrow. So this is mastering prompt engineering from product leadership. And this is a very interactive guide where we have mentioned what are the things that you should know as a product manager, right? How to optimize the model, how to make sure there is a right framework, crisp framework for the same, and then what is the architecture of the prompts and multiple techniques, right? And there are also multiple quizzes to make sure that you are learning at the right level, right? And multiple important links are also attached in this. Okay, so I'll be sharing this guide with all of you. Just my request, everyone, that please invest some time in order to go through this. Plus, I am also going to share with you people one research paper. I'm going to share with you. So these are the tips I mentioned here. You can read this. I'll also share this document with you. I'm also going to share with you this research paper, which is the ultimate research paper if you want to go ahead and improve prompt engineering. Okay, written at Cornell. It contains about 69 methods to improve your prompt engineering skills. Okay, understand, it might take you a lot of time, but my recommendation to everyone is right now, understand prompt engineering is a real skill. How to talk to computers, how to instruct them. If you learn this, this skill is going to help you for rest of your life, because in the future, there is going to be more people who want to learn to interact with AI. Okay, AI is going to do most of the jobs. Okay, but I want a commitment from you that you guys would be actually going ahead and reading all of this and not just make it another resource which you'll just save and not use. Right? I commit in the chat if you commit to dedicating at least 12 hours for improving your prompt engineering skills. Right? I commit in the chat. Cool. Yes. Cool. So that's it. I'll take a public commitment as well. So be at it. Okay. So this is about prompt engineering. And so this was a guide to prompt engineering. And now this is a guide to prompt engineering for people like you who are busy. Okay. So here what we need to understand is there are few tips for you that can make sure that you're not being lazy. First of all, you can be lazy with most of the prompts, but understand you have to have that decision or judgment in your mind that where I should be more clear with my prompt and when I should be less clear with my prompt, where I can be quick, where I need to think slowly, right? So, few tips for everyone. Build a prompt directory, Notion, Google Docs, or Apple Notes, anything that you want to have, so that you are storing your correct prompt, so that you are not searching them on your sidebar, always on your chat GPT. That is very irritating. Second is quick shortcuts, bookmarks in the new tab. So there is a Chrome extension where whenever you tap the new tab button, it is going to open a preset page. You can use that in order to store all of your documents at one place so that you don't have to search them. Third is use a prompt manager. There are multiple amazing prompt managers. You can also create one by yourself by using Google AI Studio, right? And then this is a prompt wildcard that I'm going to send you with the slides where you can go ahead and put any simple prompt and it is going to make it into a super powered prompt. Okay, so I'll also go ahead and share this prompt with you as well. Right? Cool. So now we have talked about RAG. Now let's try to understand a practical application of RAG. Okay, which is Notebook LM. Everyone, tell me when was the last time that you have used Notebook LM? If you have not used, tell me never in the chat. If you have used, tell me when was the last time when you have used it. Cool. Amazing. Yes. So many people are aware, some people are not aware. That's okay. You learn how today it works. You learn today how it works. So we will just go to notebooklm.google.com. This is the URL. You can search for Notebook LM on Google. And then this is Notebook LM. Okay, what we do in Notebook LM is the use case is you can have so many documents added to the Notebook LM, and then you can ask questions on top of these documents. Okay, so let's say if you want to do the market research, and for that market research, you need to have 20 PDFs from multiple research documents, from multiple URLs, from multiple YouTube videos. Okay, so what you can do is you can just go ahead and use Notebook LM for this. Okay, ChatGPT cannot do this because it has a limited context window and it does not work on RAG. It works on prompt engineering. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do create new. Okay, let's say I want to write a new note. Yes, let's say I want to create a new note on AI for product managers. Okay, so what I'll do is I have a YouTube channel. I'll search for AI product management course. And we have HelloPM at the top on organic results. Yes, no, not this one. Yes. So I'll have this particular video. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll click on this video. I will copy this URL. Okay. So you can have as many URLs as you want. Okay. Let's say right now I'm searching about AIPM. I want to create a guide on AIPM. That is why I'm using these videos. Okay. So I'll click on add sources. I will click on this. I will paste this link and then I am done. Okay. So now you will see that it is going to add some document, right? Similarly, now you can also see that as I have added this, multiple reports are being added here. Okay. So I can generate an audio podcast from this content. I can generate a video. I can create a mind map. I can have multiple kind of reports, right? These are all the reports that are available to me: blog post, study guides, briefing docs. So it is going to take this document and it is going to create all of this report out of the same. Okay, but maybe reading from one resource is not very intelligent. So I have also written a guide on Substack about the definite guide to AI ML product management. Right. This is a very detailed guide. I'm going to go ahead, click on add sources. I'm again going to go to website and I'm going to paste this, right? Insert. Right. So now I have two resources. Now I can go ahead and create reports. I want to create a blog post out of this, or maybe I want to create a study guide. Right. So now it is going to take some time. It is going to generate the study report for me. Okay. Let's say I want to create a mind map. So I'll click on mind map. It is going to take some time. While it generates, let me tell you how it works. Okay. But it's a very, very, very powerful tool. People who are not using it, you are actually missing out on something. So start using this. Okay. So while it is generating the reports for us, let's try to understand how products like Notebook LM, Notion, Einstein, like Salesforce Einstein work when they are working on multiple products, when they are working on multiple set of documents. Okay. So as always, I'll not jump to, because I want you to think better. I want to teach you how to think rather than what to think. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this format again. Okay. So as a product manager, we look at 5 things. When we look at a product, we look at 5 things. Okay. One is user value. Can you guys tell me, how does a product like Notebook LM helps you? What is the use case of Notebook LM in your life, guys? Tell me, everyone, what is the use case of Notebook LM? Everyone, tell me, what is the use case of Notebook LM? Yes. Efficient research, quicker research, saves you time, helps you do better. Right? Very good. So why should the business do this? Because Google wants to be, so this answer has to be given from a company's perspective, which is the company who's creating it, which is Google. Right? So Google's mission is to go ahead and make the world's information useful. Okay, to collect world's information or make the world's information useful. Right? So because they are already a leading tech AI company, it is a perfect use case for them to create. Right? Third is, and they also have all the LLMs and all. Design should be done in such a way that we are able to collect so many documents at once. Okay. Plus, because people generate, like whenever you go ahead and research on something, most of the time people are going to generate similar kind of reports. They want to create a blog, a slide, maybe a presentation, or maybe a video, or maybe they want to create an FAQ. So what they have done is they have already created these multiple reports by default. So they are going to give you default prompt. You don't have to think of it. You just have to click on that button. Okay. This is a design, like this is the design insight that they have to make the product more useful and more usable for people. Right? The third part is feasibility. Okay, for feasibility we'll talk about, but right now let's talk about growth and adoption. For growth and adoption, understand guys, if your product is useful and if people start loving it, then in the world of social media, in the world of influencer marketing, in the world of people, in the world of, let's say, this virality, your products mostly will become popular. Okay, but they have also gone ahead and run multiple ads in order to make sure that people are using it. Right? Plus, now let's talk about the engineer part. But before the engineer part, everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand the other 4 parts. A quick or yes or no if you are able to understand the other 4 parts. Okay, I could have gone in detail, but right now I have only scratched the surface. Okay, now let's go ahead. Right, just before I could go to engineering part, please everyone, understand this. You never have to skip these other parts. Don't make a mistake that as a product manager, you're only focusing on engineering. You have to make the right product, not only the product right. Okay. So how does Notebook LM works? So we have all the sources. So we can have articles, videos, PDFs, and text. Okay. So what Notebook LM does is it takes all of this information And it also extracts metadata. Metadata is what is the URL, what is the timing, right? Who is the author, these kind of things, right? It is going to have this information, and then it is going to chunk the information. Chunk as in it is going to take all the documents, and it is going to create chunks or the smallest pieces of information at the document level and also at the paragraph level. So it is going to extract paragraphs and lines, and it is going to create chunks, right? Now these chunks are stored in a database. In the same database, in the same row, we are going to store the embedding. So we are going to take these chunks, we are going to convert them into vector. We are going to create vectors of the same. Not we, but Notebook LM is going to create this. Okay. The engineers at Notebook LM is going to create a script that will do this. Okay. And as you keep on adding more and more resources, it will keep on happening automatically. Right. So now Notebook LM has all the embeddings ready. Now they have also given you automated prompts. So based on this, based on your content, they give you auto-generated prompts. Right. So this is the way. So if you want to create a summary, this is the prompt. Summarize the key ideas in plain English, focus on main findings and implications. If you want to create a study guide, this is the prompt that they are going to use. Right. So based on your content, they identify what are the prompts that are helpful for the users, they auto-generate. Okay. And then you as a user, when you click on, let's say, create a study guide for me, create a blog as I have written, right? It is going to take your input, which is create a study guide. It is going to add the prompt, which is I have shown you on the next page. And then it is going to search from these embeddings, which are important for this document, right? And then it is going to send it to the large language model. And then you are going to get the report, which is ready, right? So this is one use case of RAG, because RAG is used when you have scaling data, you want to search among a large data set, right? You want to put an LLM on the top of a large data set, right? Let's see if we are able to generate something. Where is the notebook LM? So this is the masterclass Gen AI fundamentals. Yes, it is now generating even more content. Yeah, so this is the mind map it has generated, AI product management, all of these things, I can click on these in order to get more, right? So this could be a very quick study guide for me, right? And this is generated from a similar kind of masterclass, right? Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand a use case of RAG with Notebook LM. Tell me if you are able to understand how Notebook LM works, right? So now understand, guys, not only Notebook LM, but Notion AI, Salesforce, Einstein, Glean, Atlassian Intelligence. These are billion-dollar products. Atlassian Intelligence. Okay. All the products, all the customer supports which are working on an evolving data set, they all are working on RAG, which I have just told you today. Okay. So I hope this gives you some kind of clarity that if you focus on the fundamentals, you can still be relevant in learning AI. You can actually do a lot of stuff by just understanding the right kind of fundamentals. Right. Now, after this particular thing, we have something called as fine tuning. Okay. But let's say before fine tuning, let me give you a quick break. So we are going to take a quick break of 3 minutes today because we don't have much time. I'm going to give you a quick break of 3 minutes, everyone. Go ahead, get up from your chair, drink some water, and come back. Hello everyone, welcome back. Right, I'm back in the chat if you are back. Cool. Just give me one moment. Cool. Yes. No religious comments, guys. Yes, cool. Amazing. So let's go ahead and yes, let's resume from where we are. Okay, so we have talked about RAG, we have talked about Notebook LM. Now we are going to go a bit deeper. Now we are going to talk about a very important concept, which is fine tuning. Okay. To understand, if you are working on an evolving data set, if you are working on an evolving data set, then you can use RAG, which is you have a lot of data and you want AI to answer from that information, then you can use RAG. Okay. If you want to give some instructions to the large language model, then you can use prompt engineering. But sometimes what happens is you have to change the base knowledge and base personality of the large language model. Okay. You want to change the base personality or base knowledge of the large language model. That is why you again train the model. Okay, you again train the model, which is you do more post training, which is also called as fine tuning. Okay, so what happens here is I have told you that when you are creating an LLM, there are multiple parameters which are set, and these parameters actually store the value, they store all the memory and all. Right now, if you want to change the personality of the model, if you want it to behave in a particular way, then what you will do is you have to go ahead and train that model. Train as in you are actually going to again implement GPUs, put the test data, that model is going to get retrained so that it is able to work on your behalf. Okay, it happened with one of the popular banks in India where they used like a simple GPT, like initially GPT, in order to go ahead and make a customer support chat. They started with prompt engineering and RAG, but they were able to understand that the bot does not have the personality that the brand carries. So they have gone ahead and again train the model, again fine tune the model in order to make it better, in order to make it more voice oriented or more brand oriented to their brand. Right. So fine tuning is when you are changing the characteristics of the base model. That is called as fine tuning. Right. So understand the use case. If you want to give instructions to the model, you use prompt engineering. If you want the model to answer from a particular informational database, then you use RAG. But if you want to change the characteristics of the model, the voice of the model, then you are going to use fine tuning. Okay, so in fine tuning, what we do is in fine tuning, we are going to, this is what happens. So we are going to take a base model such as Llama, GPT, or Sonnet. Okay, any LLM. After that, we are going to have some curated data and examples which are for our brand, for our use case, right? And then we are going to fine tune it. We are going to take the model, we are going to put it in a GPU, and then we are going to put this data on top of it, and then our new model will be fine tuned. Okay, fine tune is not very complicated. It is very costly, but it's not very complicated. This is a single command through which you can. This is a single command through which you can fine tune a model. Okay, so GPT 3.5 Turbo, this is a base model. This is the data that you have, right? And then once you do this, you'll be able to go ahead and get a fine-tuned model. Okay, so what is fine-tuning? You try to change the characteristics of the model by again training it. So post-training is a form of fine-tuning, as I've already told you. right? A quick yes on everyone if you are able to understand this. Amazing. Now, yes, very good. Now what we'll do is I'll give you, so fine tuning is also of multiple parts. There is two major types of fine tuning. One is full fine tuning, and second is parameter efficient fine tuning. So I have told you that a large language model has billions of parameters, right? In full fine tuning, you you go ahead and you are open to change all the parameters. You are open to change all the parameters, right? When you change all the parameters, you can input more data, but it is also very costly. And you also have a risk that you can have catastrophic forgetting, which is the model might forget all the base knowledge that it has, right? So this is full fine tuning. Generally, companies almost never do full fine tuning. What they do is they take a base model, they just go ahead and try to tweak few parameters. So what they do is they only pick few parameters which they are going to tweak. And then with that, they are going to give a personality to the model. Okay. Generally, in like, I would say not generally, but most of the time, parameter efficient fine tuning or PEFT is more preferred, right? So full fine tuning versus parameter efficient fine tuning, right? In full fine tuning, I'll repeat again, you are exposing all the parameters to change. But in parameter efficient fine tuning, you have some more additional parameters. Those are only going to change. The base model will not change. Right? A quick yes on everyone if you're able to understand this. Right? Now, yes. Now, let me give you a very interesting thing. Okay. Okay. But before the interesting, let me, like, I'm sure some people might be confused between when to use ROG and all. So I'm going to give you an important flow diagram. This is a very important diagram, guys. Okay. This will help you decide the right contextualization method or right method of context engineering. Okay. If your base large language model, such as GPT and all, it is good enough with careful prompting, right? For example, if you are creating something such as chat PRD, okay, if you are creating something such as Granula, then you can just use good, good prompt engineering, and then you can do this. You can use prompt engineering in order to create these products. But let's say the problem is missing or dynamic knowledge. You want to go ahead and put the LLM on top of large data, which is also evolving, right? Which you cannot put in the context. So what you are going to use? You are going to use RAG in this case. Example is Notion AI Notebook LM, right? But in cases where you need to talk about style, tone, domain-specific behavior, then you need to have fine-tuning. Okay, this is used in multiple customer support chatbots if you want to give it a voice. And another example is this Bloomberg GPT. So Bloomberg has a lot of data that they have acquired through all of these years through their product called as Bloomberg Terminal, right? Now, they initially started to use Chat GPT through RAG, but it did not work. It did not have the brand voice, did not have the right kind of information. So what they did was they fine-tuned a GPT on top of Bloomberg data, right? In fine-tuning, you need substantial amount of data, right data in order to train, and it is also costly, right? So fine-tuning is generally something that people do in the end, right? So everyone, finally tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, if you are able to understand the difference between prompt engineering, RAG, and this fine-tuning. Yes. Focus on the session, guys. Yes. So now understand. Yes. Now, this is an easy part. Now, there is a very interesting thing that I'm going to tell you guys. Okay. So now what happens is, look at this tweet. Look at this carefully. Okay. So this tweet says that Airbnb CEO is using Alibaba's coin model and not the OpenAI's latest model for production issues, for production grade. Okay. Can you guys tell me, if OpenAI has a better model, then why are people using Alibaba's Quen model? Think about this and tell me in the chat. Yes. Now I'm going to give you a very important part. So you guys have to listen to this very carefully. Okay. This is a very, very, very important part. Okay. A very important idea. Okay. So whenever, whenever any company tries to implement large language model, any business tries to implement large language model or implement Gen AI in their company in B2B use cases, they are going to look at multiple parameters. Okay. The first parameter is obviously the cost. What is the cost of running this? Right. And the second parameter is obviously privacy and security. Because if you are a business and multiple other businesses are relying you on storing their data, you cannot just give this data to OpenAI or Anthropic or anyone, right? Because they are API-based mechanisms, your data is going to go to their place, right? They might have some privacy policy, but your other clients might not be okay with the same, right? So now what many companies are doing is, okay, and also like apart from cost and privacy segment, the other part is whether this particular product is actually useful for you or not, whether it can solve the problem that your business is trying to solve, right? So now understand, many companies are taking a different approach. Okay, the approach is transfer learning. Now look at this very carefully, very important concept, very important idea. Okay. So now, and in the future, we are going to look more companies which are going to implement transfer learning, and this shift has already started happening. Okay. So what is happening in transfer learning is, let's say you have a particular use case. You have a particular use case of, let's say, customer support, right? Or maybe writing SQL queries from natural language, or a particular use case in your company, right? Now, if you use the best models such as OpenAI GPT 5.2, then basically what you are doing is you are using a sword where you could have used a needle. You are using a sword where you could have used a needle. Okay, everyone, yes or no, if you are able to understand this. If for a particular use case in your company, you are using the top best model every time, then generally you are actually trying to use a sword when you could have used a needle, right? So what companies are doing these days is, they will take a small language or an open source model. So there are open source model, both large language models and small language models. So difference between large language and small language model is, then large language model has more number of parameters, so it is apparently more intelligent, and small language models has small number of parameters. But for specific use cases, small language models are good enough, right? You have to test this to know this. Okay, so we are now having open source large language and small language models. Some examples of open source large language models are DeepSeek, Quen, Kimi K2, and even by because this shift is happening, recently, this OpenAI has also released their open source model, which is OpenAI OSS, GPT OSS. Okay, so now these are the open source models. We also have some small language models, which is Llama has a small language model, like one of the versions of Llama is a small language model, and Google has something called as Gemma, which is a small language model. Okay, so because it's a small language model, or because these are open source models, they are cost effective. right? But now the problem is whether they'll be useful or not. So what companies are doing is, now look at this very carefully, this is the most important part. But what companies are doing is, in order to make these open source models or these cheaper models effective for the use case of the company, they are fine tuning these models. And for fine tuning, what is the major blocker? The major blocker is data. So what these companies are doing intelligently is, they are creating the synthetic data with the help of top grade models, state of art models such as Anthropic's Claude Opus and OpenAI 5.2. And then they generate a lot of training data with these models. And then they use this data in order to fine tune these models. So in production, these models are being used, but for initial training, the data is generated from these models. So now the company is able to get better cost. The company is able to get usefulness, which is they are able to go ahead and answer the queries well. Plus, the most important part is, these models, these companies are using products such as, so what they are doing is, they have this model, they are going to take their own cloud hosting and they are storing it all in their control. So the data is also secure and private, right? So data is secure slash private because it is not going to an OpenAI or any kind of API. It is in the cloud which they can control, right? To give you an example, just give me a moment. Yes. So let's say we have this company called as, what's the name? Deep Infra. Yes. So this Deep Infra, what it does is, you can have any model. Yes. I hope I'm audible to everyone, right? Yes. So what this model does is, we it gives you a cloud instance of GPU where you can install your own model. Okay, and look at the pricing. Okay, so if you are using Quen, like the best version of Quen, you are going to spend $0.09 for 1 million input tokens and $1 for 1 million output tokens. Okay, let me write this down. 1 million input token, right, is 0.1 and 1 million output token is $1. Okay, this is 0.01 actually. This is input and this is output. Okay, this is for Quen open source, right? But if you go to OpenAI, you look at the price, 1.750. 1.750 is OpenAI and $10 is for this, right? So by using transfer learning, you, like, enterprises are now saving, let's say, money. They are being more private, and because it's a small language model with less parameters, it is always able to run faster as well. So inference is a lot faster, right? Everyone, yes. Everyone tell me, on a scale of 1 to 5, you're able to understand this concept. Correct? So what we do is, so this is a flow. Initially, when you are building a prototype, When you are building the prototype, you are, so guys, I'm repeating, so please focus on this right now. Okay, when you are building the prototype, what we'll do is we are going to use the best model so that you can go ahead and test and train and do everything. But when you are moving to production, you will have issues of first quality, you will have issues of cost, and you will have issues of privacy. Open source model and these small language models are good for cost and privacy reasons because data is with you and these are very cheap. Okay, but the issue is quality, right? So what we do is we take the best models, state of art models, right, in order to generate synthetic data. And then we use this data in order to train the open source or the small language models. And then we can use them to deploy our applications. This is what I am trying to say. Right? Now, everyone, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you're able to understand this. Airbnb is using this. Okay, so I told you real examples only. Synthetic data is, if you want to train an LLM, you have to give it data. Most companies do not have this data structured. So OpenAI and all do this. For example, DeepSeek was trained on data generated from GPT. This is what GPT claims. Everyone, please tell me if you're able to understand this. Cool. Right? Yes. So this is about like one of the methods to understand, guys. What I'm trying to show you here is not more keywords, but how you can use the existing pieces of information in order to think about engineering and product. Okay. These large language models, small language models, they already exist, but someone understood that we can go ahead and combine these things in order to create something even more helpful. Okay. So you should learn how to think. Right? Matching fundamentals and creating something really unique. Okay. Yes. So now a quick request from everyone before we could move to the next one. Just give me a moment. Yes. Everyone, if you are getting the value from the session, I have shared a LinkedIn link in the chat. Please share your honest feedback in the chat, in the particular LinkedIn links comment. It will help us reach more people and it will help us share this information with more people that who need this. Go ahead, guys. Take a minute to do this while I move ahead. Yes, all of these guides will all be shared with you by tomorrow if you fill the feedback form in the end. Cool. Now, again, focus here, guys. We are talking about a very important topic now. We are talking about a very important topic now, which is AI agents, right? Yes. So now, so far, what we are doing is we have talked about Chat GPT, LLMs, and transfer learning, and Quen and DeepSeek. All of these are just text generators, right? They are like a human who can just think and maybe talk, but they are not able to move their hands, right? They are like your manager who thinks that they are the most intelligent one, but when it comes to actually doing the work, they are not able to do it, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to try to give this ability to act to our AI, right? So when your AI can act, it can interact with the environment. That is called as AI agent. Okay, when your AI can interact with the environment, that is called as AI agent, right? To give you an example, right? To to give you a structure before the example, an AI agent contains three things. Okay, first is they are intelligent. Where does the intelligence comes from? It comes from the large language models. Large language models are able to statistically understand what will come next. Okay, so they mimic thinking process, right? Action. How do they take action? The actions are, if you receive an email on Gmail, you should be like, the AI should be able to understand if this email is helpful or not, and it should be able to go ahead and mark it as a spam or not a spam, or it should be able to reply to that email automatically. Okay, so for that, we need to connect it to a system such as Gmail, and for that, we have something called as APIs. Okay, so I am sure most of the people might be knowing about API. If you do not know about API, I have a detailed 50-minute or 1 hour video on our YouTube channel which discusses about APIs. Okay. And the third part is the autonomy. Autonomy means that this LLM can take decisions on itself. This agent can take decisions on itself. Plus, it also learns from every interaction. Right? It has a memory of every interaction. Okay. So that is AI agent. And there are multiple platforms on which you can create AI agents. So I can divide AI agents into two parts. First is the AI agents that you can create for your own productivity as a product manager. Okay, so you want to create a simple workflow where you are going to go ahead and do a research. You are going to go ahead and do the research, and then from that research, whatever you have got, you are going to create Google Docs out of the same. Okay, so you are doing the research one part, and then you are interacting with Google Docs. Okay, that is the second part. So it is called as an AI agent. If you want to build that AI agent, you can use any of these platforms. Agent.ai, Zapier, N8N, OpenAI, AgentKit. Right. In one of the videos on our YouTube channel, I have explained how to use this newer platform called as Relay in order to create an AI agent. Okay, so the definition of AI agent is very simple. When your AI can act, when it can interact with the environment, that is an AI agent. Okay, a prime example of, so most of the products that you use these days, like AI products, not just the LLM assistants, most of them are AI agents. Okay, so a quick yes or no, everyone, if you have used Lovable in the past. Tell me yes or no if you have used Lovable in the past. Yes. Or any kind of vibe coding tool. So what is your go-to vibe coding tool? Tell me in the chat, what is your go-to vibe coding tool? Nice. Everyone is using multiple tools. Very good. Yes. Keep it up, guys. Very good. Right. So I'll tell you. So agent theory is very limited. Okay. Agents are LLMs. Agents are the situations where you can let the LLM to interact with the environment. Okay. So now let me tell you how a thing like Lovable works, but same kind of formula. Whenever you look at any, understand guys, this should become your mental model. Whenever you look at any product, when you look at any product, you should think from 5 angles: user value, business value, design value, feasibility, and growth and adoption. Okay, now I'll skip all of these parts because I'm sure you guys be knowing about this. Let me go ahead and focus on how this product works. Okay, so on level, what is happening is you give input as a user. You tell it, help me create a personal productivity manager, or help me create a simple Pomodoro app, right? You give it to this product Lovable, and they will have a system prompt. Yesterday, I have shown you a guide of how to create system prompts that also contains the system prompt for Lovable. Okay, so in that system prompt, what will happen is that in that system prompt, there will be multiple parts. Okay, one part is it is going to plan the product. What are the different kind of things that will happen in the product? It is going to create a plan. This will be done by LLM. After that, once the plan is created, the LLM now needs to create the files. Okay, so the LLM now needs to interact with the file system. right? Now, as the LLM interacts with the file system, so as the LLM will interact with the file system, can you guys tell me what will it become? When an LLM can interact with the file system, what will it become? Yes, correct. It will become an agent, right? It will become an agent. Why? Because it is able to act. So it will interact with the file system. Whatever the LLM has generated in terms of plan, it is going to create all of these files, right? All of these files are going to get created. Then it will also try to put code into these files. And once they have put the code into these files, what it is going to do is it is going to correct the mistakes. It will try to run the files. So now for running also, it needs an API of browser, right? So it is going to have an API of a browser to understand whether it is running correctly or not automatically. Okay. And then what will happen is that it is also going to interact with the operating system, which is create a virtual environment, access to the file system, automatic deployment, all of these things which human used to do through APIs. Now the LLM will do, right? And then once all of this is created, you as a user will get the output. So imagine if you are creating a website, what will you do? You will first plan that I will have 4 pages. All pages will have the files. Then you will write code for all of these 4 files. After that, you will zip it, you will put it onto a server, and then you will share the URL with the world, right? The LLM is going to plan the same. Just that you can click buttons, you can press buttons, you can log into your hosting system. For that, you need to give access to this LLM. That is what Lovable has orchestrated, or Emergent has orchestrated, or any of these base 64 or any of these product have been orchestrating, right? So the fundamentals are simple. You have an LLM which can think, which can plan, which can write code, which can generate information, right? Information can be code, right? Now, when you give it access to an API or any kind of tools, then it is able to act. So now what humans do, which is developer operations, coding, designing, all of these things can now be done by LLM, right? So can you guys tell me what are the other tools that LLMs can interact with, which you will find useful in your life? What are the tools that you use in your daily life? Tell me in the chat, apart from the AI tools. Yes. So LLM can interact with the email. It can interact with the Jira. It can interact with the Excel, Notion, LinkedIn, Gmail, everything. Right? So that is what agent is. Okay. Agents are the products which will actually help you take action plus intelligence. Right? Some examples of agents in actions are customer support. An agent that reads tickets, drafts, replies, and updates CRM. Right? So it is not just informing user about the query, but it is actually going ahead and reading the ticket, draft, replies, and updates CRM. Right? Another agent is meeting productivity, which is Fireflies, Granula, extract task, log them, and trigger workflows. So when the meeting is done, everyone gets an email that this is what was discussed. And these tasks can also be passed on to Jira. This is an agent. So Granula was an agent, right? Similarly, business ops, Zapier AI or Anytime agents that monitor incoming data and execute automations, right? So whenever you get an email from the client, automatically their account is created, the workflow is started, they are invited to Slack, and then their process goes on. This is what an agent is. So understand there are 2 things. One is agentic workflow and other is normal workflow. Okay. In normal workflow, you generally don't have an LLM because they are not required to think, right? But in a generative AI workflow or an agentic workflow, your agents can act on themselves, by themselves, right? There is some kind of intelligent layer. This is what an agent is. Okay. And there is a guide that I am going to share with you where you can understand what are the different industries using agents for. Okay. So this is a detailed guide from Google where they have captured multiple use cases of agents. This is important for you to know if you want to create a career in AI, so that you are like, you have to start from the use cases. Okay. So in technology, in finance, in auto industrial, public sector, healthcare, retail, they have gone ahead and created multiple use cases. Okay. I'll also share the link for this guide with all of you in the resources. So it is also, so if you get the slides, in the notes of the slide, this is attached. Let me show you how the guide looks like. It's a wonderful guide. Everyone should read it if you want to understand what are real use cases of AI beyond the hype. Right? There are multiple use cases and multiple tables over there. Everyone should go ahead and read this guide, or at least use Notebook LM in order to compress this guide and read the summary. Right? Now, to give you like a more structured understanding of agent, generally, an agent stack contains 5 things. Agent stack as in what do you need in order to create an agent? Okay, what do you need in order to create agents? So these are the 5 things that you need. First is your agent needs reasoning. Reasoning means it should be able to act. It should be able to think, which is you can use LLM such as GPT, Claude, Llama, or you can also use small language models for specific cases such as Gemma and Py3. Okay. After the reasoning, so reasoning or LLMs are the brains of the agents, right? After this, you have memory. Memory as in you have to store the data somewhere, right? For that, agents or these intelligent systems, they understand vector databases, not keyword databases, because keyword databases are very limiting. Okay, so we are going to have pinecone, chroma, RAG, feedback loops in order to store the data. So we are going to orchestrate a RAG pipeline, right? Similarly, we are going to have tools, right? We need the agent to interact with the environment and outside tools. And for that, we have APIs, we have databases, we have visual agents. So OpenAI has something called as operator. I'm not sure if it is active right now, but it can go ahead and use computer like a human. So we are going to tell it to do a Google query. It is going to open up a window where a browser will open like a video, and it is going to do a user query. It is going to do the shopping for you, right? So these are tools which will help you connect with your agent with multiple tools of the world, right? Then we have orchestrators. Now, orchestrators are the tools which actually put everything at one place, right? So you need a place where you can go ahead and make the interaction between the reasoning, the memory, and the tools, right? And for that, we have multiple orchestration tools such as LangGraph, Crew AI, NA10, and methods that you can give to for instructions. How should your agent act? Okay, and then eventually we have guardrails. Guardrails means, understand, you are trying to give autonomy to a machine. And when you try to give autonomy to a machine, you better control it, right? For that, you have guardrails. Guardrails means whether the content is relevant, safe, tool safeguarding, and output validation, right? So this is the AI agent stack. Everyone tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, you're able to understand about agents. Nice. Yes. And I will also recommend everyone to use this simple platform. So I'll just give you a demo of the platform as well. There is an amazing simple platform. If you're just getting started for using agents, you should use this platform. This is the relay.app. Let me log in if I have an account. So as I've told you that an agent has a large language model or intelligence. It also has certain tools. Okay. So in Relay, what you can do is, this is the interface that you see. You can just click on new workflow. Okay. And then you can just create your, let's say, agent. For example, the first part is trigger, which is how should it start. So I can say that it can start manually, or you can also go ahead and start it from an action. So if you receive an email, it will get triggered. Okay. So manually run. I can add inputs, which is give me a text. Right? Then I can add a large language model, which is AI, and then I can use any of these AI tasks. Okay, in one of our YouTube channel, like the video that that I'll be sharing with you, where I have gone ahead and given more details of this interface, where we have created an actual agent, so you can learn it from there. Right, and there are multiple platforms. My advice for everyone would be to get your hands dirty. Okay, just create an account on N8N, on Relay, try to create a first agent. You'll understand how easy it is. Right? Yes. Now, going to the second part, going to the next part, how many of you have read about this headline? Tell me in the chat, how many of you have read about this headline? Yes. So a few months ago, media has gone gaga about this particular headline, that AI is just a hype and 95% of the initiatives fail. I'm sure that most of them have not read this actual report. This report was actually very, very helpful. Okay. This report stated that many AI products fail because there is a learning gap. What learning gaps means is, that the AI workflows that people were creating, or the AI solution that they were creating, first, they were not solving problems. They were not solving actual problems. They were solutions looking for problems. Right? And second part is, they were actually not iterating or adopting. For example, if someone gives them a feedback that this is how it should be done, they were not learning from it. Okay, so as a product manager, remember, although I have told you about AI agents, RAG, context, transfer learning, everything, your major purpose is to make sure that you are creating something helpful and you are creating a feedback loop so that your product is actually evolving. Right? If your product does not evolve, forget about everything. Right? Because world's needs are changing. Okay. Yes. Now, I have told you that for agents to be helpful, the agents need to connect to the real world. The agent needs to connect to the real world. Right? So in order to connect to the real world, agents need APIs. So if you want to connect to Gmail, you have an API. If you want to connect to Slack, you have an API. If you want to connect to Jira, you have an API. So developers, what they need to do is, they need to go ahead and create custom integrations or custom API calls for all of these from their LLMs. Right? And it was very problematic. Right? So what is happening? If you want to connect your LLM with a product, you need to understand its API. And then you have to write custom code in order to connect the LLM to the particular product. Right? Which was a difficult thing. Right? And because of which, the developers were only able to connect their AI products, like their LLMs, only to few products. So agents were limited. But after that, this company called as Anthropic created something very revolutionary, which is Model Context Protocol. So Model Context Protocol, in a simple way, MCP, is just a set of rules that these APIs need to follow, right? Through which they'll be able to get integrated with the large language models. Okay, so what happens in MCP is, every company who has these products, or developers of these products, or fans of these products, are going to learn the API, and they are going to create an MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. And now with this MCP is like a USB-C. Right? Right now, if you want to charge an iPhone, if you want to charge an Android, if you want to connect your iPad, if you want to go ahead and maybe use an headphone, if you want to go ahead and have a ring light or anything, or maybe your monitor or computer, everything in the world can be connected with each other with the help of USB-C. But before that, what used to happen? We used to have multiple kind of cables. So model context protocol is the USB-C of the agentic AI world. Right now, you have the Figma MCP, which you can configure with your cursor, which you can configure with your chat GPT, which you can configure with your Claude, so that you will give a command on Claude and then the MCP will automatically connect with Figma. It will create the complete UI for you. That is the power of MCP. So what is MCP doing? MCP is reducing the need of learning and integrating every API. Figma team has made available all the their MCP. Multiple companies have made their MCPs available. Some developers have created by themselves, and now you just need to integrate with the MCP. The good part of MCP is the LLM can interact with the MCP in natural language, which is the language of the LLMs. So now it has become super simple to create agents. Right? Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand this. Yes. So LLM is a different technology. MCP is a different technology. LLM have conversations in the form of natural language. So what in an MCP, what happens is inside an MCP, if you go ahead and open an MCP, you will find that in an MCP, the definition of the code on the top of the code, the developer might have written the definition of the function or what that function does or what that code does in simple natural language, which is English, so that LLM is able to interact with this and it is able to execute. Okay, if you want to check multiple MCPs, there is a website called as Pulse MCPs, Pulse MCP, where you can find so many helpful MCPs out there, so that you can connect them with your Claude Code, with your Cursor, with your Windsurf, and all the other products. Right? Pulse MCP is the name of the website. Right. So this is MCP. Yes. Now I can talk about evaluations, but I think we don't have enough time. So what we are going to do is I'm going to share. So MCPs I've already evaluations I've already covered in one of the past sessions. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll share a video with all of you where you can go ahead and understand these fundamentals of MCPs. And also in a couple of weeks, my detailed podcast on evaluations, like it's about 1 hour or 2 hour podcast, which Akash Gupta is coming, where I'm trying to teach people practical evaluations, which is offline evaluations, online evaluations. That podcast will come, so I'll share that with you. Plus, I'll also share a small video which I have created for evaluations. Right now, I don't think we have time to cover evaluations in detail. Right? Tell me okay in the chat, guys, if that is okay with you. Yes. Cool. So I'll also share it with everyone because you have already registered for this masterclass. So we have your email ID. We'll do that. Okay. So now, apart from all of the tools that we have talked about, there are multiple tools that you should use as an AI PM because you are going to get more productive with this. And because you use these kind of tools, you also get a hunch of how AI tools are created. Okay. So I generally divide the product manager's workflow into discovery, delivery, and distribution. There are multiple tools that I have mentioned. Okay. These keep on evolving, but my request to everyone is please go through these two videos. Okay. There are these two videos on our YouTube channel. One is how do product managers leverage AI. So I have given a hands-on tutorial on Google AI Studio and Anti-Gravity. These are the two most important tools that you should know as a PM. Plus, I have also in other video, I have captured multiple other tools, Notebook Element, multiple other tools. Okay. My request is please go through them and you'll understand how to be more productive as an AI PM. So that at least you are able to become a good or a very good applied AI, AI-enabled PM. Right? Now, talking about a very important part. Okay. So guys, understand Okay, for this, I need your focus because this is important. Okay, everyone tell me focus in the chat if you are able to, if your whole focus is in the session right now. Tell me focus in the chat. This part is very important. Yes. So everyone understand. You go to a recruiter or you go to an entrepreneur and you ask them that I want to become an AIP, right? And they ask you, why do you need to become an AIPM or why should I make you an AIPM? And most of the answers are, I'm passionate, I have read about it. Okay. Or maybe I have a certification on it, or maybe I have gone ahead and maybe done a particular program or course on it. Okay. But people do not trust you. What people trust is they want to see if you can do the job or not. Okay. Because you are not able to show your proof of work, right? You do not get shortlisted. And generally, then you blame that I'm not coming from a great college, I do not have the technical background. That is why people are not trusting me. Understand honestly, most of the people, most of the good entrepreneurs, most of the good companies do not care about it. What they care about is that if you are so passionate about something, in the world of AI, why haven't you taken initiative to go ahead and build something of your own? If all the tools are available to you, you don't need anyone's permission to build something now. So if you think you can be a good PM, if you can understand people, if you can do some kind of prototyping, wireframing, talk to people, market research, everything, if you are a good PM, if you think you are a good PM, if you think that you deserve the role that you desire, if you think that you deserve the role that you desire, then what is stopping you from going ahead and creating proof of work? Right? So what you should do is everyone in the class, no matter you are already a PM, senior PM, or junior PM, or anyone, please go ahead and start building your portfolio. Okay, don't build portfolio only to get a job. Build a portfolio to convert your passion into action. If after 2 hours, 500 of you are in this session right now, that means you are actually passionate about learning AI product management and making a good career out of it. Okay, so if you are so passionate, my recommendation to everyone is please go ahead and create a portfolio. This portfolio will give a proof to your passion, right? And what you should include in your portfolio, there is a detailed video on my YouTube channel on how to create a portfolio, but I can give you some glimpse right now. Okay, if you are already a product manager, include the commentary of your past work, what you have done. Okay, if that is not the case, then go ahead and create the side projects, right? You can use Lovable, you can use Google AI Studio, so many things in order to create the side projects. Okay, understand? A side project right now, so 3-4 years ago, if you have built something, that is a side project. Right now, it is not a side project because anyone can build anything. So a good side project to be added in a portfolio is something where you build something, then you show it to the users. They give you feedback and then you again iterate it. That is a side project. If people are not using your product, that is not a side project. That is just a prompt that you have generated. That's a product that you have generated from one prompt on Lovable. Okay. And then you can also include product improvement and creation case studies. Okay. So what you can do is I have given you a simple framework, okay, which is looking at product from 5 angles. Looking at product from 5 angles. You can use this framework in order to create multiple case studies so that people understand if you actually are interested in working as a PM. Right? This is your proof of work. Right? Eventually, you can also create product teardowns and case studies. And then eventually, after you are learning all of these things, try to share your learnings online. When you try to share your learnings online, you attract the right kind of people. Okay, don't be worried about what your friends are going to say. Go ahead. If you learn something, it's your responsibility to teach it to the world, to let the world know. Right? Now, why I'm telling you all of these things? Because me or anyone in the world can only give you information. Me or anyone in the world can only give you information, but what you need is not information. What you need is knowledge. Okay, so can you guys tell me how do you convert information into knowledge? Tell me, guys, how do you convert information into knowledge? Yes. The only way to convert information into knowledge is through action. You have to take the action. You have to do a lot of reflection. Okay. If you keep on thinking, if you just keep on getting one information over the other, your mind will explode with information. You will feel intelligent, but you are not getting anywhere. Okay. The purpose of human beings is not to be intelligent. The purpose of human life is not to be intelligent. It is to be useful. And you can only be useful by actually building something. So please go ahead, convert your information into knowledge with the help of action. Okay. And with that being said, this is what you need to do. Okay. If you are aggressively looking for an AI PM role, reverse engineer top AI products. Look at top AI products, reverse engineer them, understand the gaps, frustrations, in your personal or professional workflow. Build something to solve these problems. Start writing what you learn on Substack, on LinkedIn. Writing is free, right? Keep a track of AI companies. Help them improve, enhance, expand. Send them email that this is what I can do for your company, and then follow up. I'm sure if someone is doing this for a few months, you will be able to go ahead and get a breakthrough in AI product management. Right? Now, with that being said, we at HelloPM actually go ahead and help you learn AI product management by actually doing stuff. Okay. So this was the session which was one way, but in HelloPM, we go ahead and conduct two-way sessions where you are able to learn by actually doing things. Okay. So at HelloPM, okay. So tell me in the chat, guys, if you are interested in knowing about the HelloPM program. A quick yes or no in the chat. Cool. Yes. So now look at this very carefully. At HelloPM, we have created, so we are training product managers and senior product managers for 5 years now. Okay, we are training product managers and senior product managers for 5 years now. Right now, we have so far we have trained around 2,500 people through our paid program. Through free program, we have trained so many people, but through paid program, we have trained around 2,500 people. And they are working in almost all the top companies. Microsoft, Paytm, Amazon, Lenskart, Flipkart, you can take the name of the company. There is very high likely chance that one of my students or one of our mentees is going to go ahead and work there as a product manager. Okay, so that is the coverage, and we have been doing this for 5 years. So I started HelloPM 5 years ago in February of 2021. So we are going to complete 5 years in the next month. And we are going to start 49th cohort next month. Okay. Now at HelloPM, to give you a gist of the program, what we do is we help you in 3 phases. Okay. How do we help you become a product manager or learn about product management or move to a senior position? We do it in 3 phases. Phase number one is we make sure that you are able to learn. So imagine what is the kind of information that I have given you in 4 hours. You know the kind of information that I have given you in 4 hours. Imagine what we can teach you in 4 months. So what we have done is we have created the world's most detailed. Remember, I'm saying world. Okay. So we have created the world's most detailed program on AI product management. Okay, which covers all the fundamentals that you need in order to understand product management. Week one, product management fundamentals, strategy, creative execution, user research and market research, and product analytics. Right. After that, we talk about Gen AI. We talk about system architecture of AI products. We go into RAG in a bit more detail, much deeper. Then we talk about writing evaluations, like you are going to actually write evaluations for your products. Then we are going to talk about details. So today I was able to give 10-15 minutes to the agents. Imagine I'm going to train you for almost 4 to 8 hours only on AI agents. You are actually going to build your own AI agent. Okay. And then we are going to talk about designing product AI product experience, which is how to take care of the design and UI UX of AI products. Okay. And then in the 11th week, we are going to talk about how to grow the AI products. Okay. So this is about all AI. Initially, all the product fundamentals. Then next 5-6 weeks about all AI. And then we are going to do another session on how you can leverage AI tools in order to become more productive as an AI PM. Right. So after the sessions, you should have a very solid understanding of how to build AI products, right? Or maybe any kind of traditional products as well. Now, as I've told you, just learning is not enough. Although we have created the most detailed program on product management and AI product management, this is not enough. You never learn product management by just learning from theory. So the second part of the program is practice. What we do is, in terms of practice, we are going to give you real case studies almost every week. So if you are able to look at this, we are going to give you these case studies and maybe more and different kind of case studies every week. We are also going to give you multiple assignments. Okay, we are going to give you multiple assignments, multiple case studies, so that you are able to practice stuff and everything is connected to real life, real products. Plus, we are also going to, in the last 3 weeks, we are also going to help you build your own AI product. So you will build your own AI product from scratch, right? Where our team would be handholding you. So the output from this program is not just a certificate. Certification has no value, but the real portfolio or proof of work that will give you a lot of confidence. Okay. And then if you complete all of this, you also get 2 additional modules, which is getting into a PM role and user growth and product marketing. Right. Now, we have given you a lot of practice. We have given you a lot of learning, but many of you are looking for the ultimate goal, which is the career support. So once you have done the learning and practice part, we also give you the placement or the career support, right? And we have a strong alumni network across the world, right? So what we do is, once you do all of these things, once you are confident and we are confident that you deserve the role that you desire, once you deserve the role that you desire, then we give you the career support. The career support is available because we have a large network. Okay, so in career support, what we do is we help you create a much better resume one-on-one. After that, we make sure that you are able to create a strong portfolio. We will actually give you some more problem statements and we'll review the portfolio. After that, we go ahead and give you a very detailed interview prep. We are going to cover all the aspects of product management interviews across the companies. And then the fourth part is, like, apart from interview preparation, we also give you mock interviews, and we do not limit the number of mock interviews. We give you the mock interviews, 2 mock interviews. We share with you the feedback. You iterate on that feedback and you keep on unlocking more mock interviews in the batch of 2. Right? And then in the end, we are going to give you the internal job board access, where, because we have a large alumni base, we are able to curate a lot of interesting job opportunities, which will be available to you. And for some of these, referrals and recommendations are also available. Okay, so for example, if I go to the career section, this is an internal LMS. Wow Momo is hiring, and for HelloPM alumni, you will get a referral. Okay. Similarly, English Bhashi is hiring. This is for the interns. Referrals available. Right. So there are multiple companies which are offering referrals. And yes, so English Bhashi is giving the referral. Millie is hiring referral. This is a mentor company. CA Monk is hiring. They are offering interns. Similarly, Bajaj Capital Insurance, they are the recent partnership where they are hiring PM and SPM from HelloPM. Right? So this is the kind of support that you are going to get from HelloPM. But one very important thing, everyone, that you should consider HelloPM as a gym subscription, where we are going to give you the right kind of advice, right kind of instruments, right kind of content, right kind of environment. But it is you who has to do the hard work. Don't think that it's a placement guarantee program. If you are joining the program, you have to commit about 15 hours every week. Right? We work hard with you. We have created the most effective curriculum. We have created the most effective curriculum. We have created the most practical program. And we also support you for a period of 2 years. So in this 2 years, if you want to get any placement support, any advice, any help, or if you want to repeat the cohort again, you can do so without any additional charges. Right? And the program keeps on updating, so you will get access to it for a period of 2 years. Right? So this is about the program. You can check all the other details of the program, and you can also schedule a counseling call from the website. You can also schedule a counseling from the website from here. Okay. And these are the pricing details and all, which I will present on the screen. So fees is 75,000 rupees, which can be paid in no cost EMI options. For people from other countries, it is $1,000. Right? Yes. Everyone, a quick yes or no if you are able to understand this before I could share the feedback form. Yes. Wonderful. So now what I'll do is I'll share the feedback form with everyone. Okay. And as you fill the feedback form, maybe within 24 hours, I'll try to push the team. And you will get all the resources that I have promised by tomorrow. Just give me a moment. Okay. Also, people, what you should do is I am sharing two links with you. Okay. One is the feedback form. So please give the feedback here. Okay. And second is I am again sharing this LinkedIn link with you. Right. So I have taken a commitment from all of you that you are going to create, like learn about prompt engineering, right? Please go to this LinkedIn URL and publicly commit that I commit to following all the resources that are shared in the class. Write in your own words that I commit to share the resources, or you can also put a Facebook, like LinkedIn post. Okay, I think that is much better. Don't go to this. Okay. Yes. So guys, what you should do is after filling this form, you can create a LinkedIn post where you can publicly commit that I am going to commit to consuming all the resource materials which are shared with me on the masterclass. That is for your own sake, so that you are more accountable and you are able to do things. Yes, everyone, fill the feedback form. Once you are done with the feedback form, give me an emoticon on that link. Yes, I hope everyone found the session helpful. And the next batch is going to start from 18th of January. I would also appreciate, guys, that you also check our YouTube channel. We have a lot of content there. And if you're watching this on YouTube channel, do not forget to subscribe, because we have a lot of amazing content that is planned. My podcast with Akash is going to come, I think, in a couple of weeks, where you will get more details of evaluations, which unfortunately we are not able to cover because of time in today's class. And I did not want it to be just surface level. Cool. People who have submitted the feedback, okay, can you quickly tell me in the chat, what are the new concepts that you have learned today which you are not knowing before? What are the new concepts that you learned today that you were not knowing before? Yes, guys. So we are doing a partnership with Lovable and this company called Figma, where HelloPM students are going to get a lot of free credits. Lovable and Figma, we are doing partnership. It is almost in the finalization part. You can check all the information about the cohort from this link that I've shared with you. Cool. Yes, I believe everyone was able to learn something. Guys, I have shared the feedback form in the chat. I'll again share it because it has gone down. Where is it? Yes, I have shared the feedback form again in the chat. Where is that? Just give me a moment. Go ahead. Everyone, go ahead, fill the feedback form, super important, so that we are able to share content with you. I hope you like the session and I hope you keep on coming back when you need to learn more stuff. Yes. For tools and all, my recommendation is there is a website on, there is a video on our website, like on our YouTube channel, which is how top product managers use AI. You'll get a lot of context from the same. That is enough for you or anyone to get started. That's a 2-3 hour video, 2 hour video, I believe. Everyone submit the feedback form. I could see there are three, like how much? 362 people who are still remaining and only 299 have submitted the form. There were about 500 people just a moment before. Fill the feedback form so that I can take a leave, guys. I've again shared the feedback form in the chat. Good, everyone. Yes, if you like the session, please leave the feedback on LinkedIn. That will help us help more people like you. If you are getting some value for free, you should try to spread it as much as possible. Help us help more people like you. Yes, everyone fill the feedback form, please, so that we can take a leave. Yes. You can check all the information about the course from this website called as hellopm.co. If you have any further questions, you can also write to us through that chat or WhatsApp button on the website. And you can also schedule a one-on-one call. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care. Don't forget to see other videos that are there on the YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care. This is bye from me.